People out. Anyway, welcome. We're happy you are here. To get the program going further, I do want to introduce Aaron. Aaron has been associate at the ranch for 5.5 years now. He's been our ED executive director for the last 2 years. And you know, if you want to join an organization, a nonprofit at a great time, start during COVID. What a great time to jump in. So thanks to Aaron's efforts, we are still here. We have been challenged. We think we've risen to the challenge, but there is a lot of work to do. And that's part of what tonight's program is all about. So Aaron, what's going on?
Well, great. It's so good to see all of you. And now that your video's on, we can actually see you. That's wonderful. Thanks, Hale. I always like to marvel at the fact that my first day as acting director was the first day of the shelter in place back in 2020. So it's been a wild ride in this seat, but I'm happy to be here and I'm happy that the ranch is still here. I want to introduce staff that we have on the call. We made mention to Tyrone, who's our interim advancement director. And I want to call your attention to 2 new staff members that we have. The first one being our, just last week started with us, our new reservations coordinator, who is Rachel Spessard. We are really thrilled to have her. I'm not sure if she's on the Zoom or not. She wasn't sure she could make it. Rachel, are you here? I don't think so. But those of you who are group leaders and booking reservations at the ranch, you'll have a chance to interact with Rachel in the future. We're really fortunate to have her.
She got stuck trying to upgrade her Zoom in advance. Zoom is really strict and they won't let you on anymore if you don't have a certain version. She's in Zoom hell.
Maybe at the very end she can come in.
We'll point her out when she comes in. Our other new addition is Kaitlin Horvath, who is our new director of hospitality operations. And I did see Kaitlin. We're really thrilled to have her. She's coming to us from Camp Wright in Maryland. And Kaitlin, I just want to give you a minute to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you came to the ranch.
Sure. So as Aaron said, I'm from Maryland and I ran an Episcopal summer camp, one of the largest ones in the country for the last 12 years. And I was looking for some new opportunities professionally and personally because I felt like Camp Wright was in a really good place. And I saw the opportunity to come to the ranch, which I had visited at an annual conference in 2014. So I applied for the job. I went through the process and they chose me as the new director of hospitality operations. And so I have been at the ranch for 1 month now. And I've spent my time getting to know the property, getting to know the staff, forcing Christmas cheer upon everyone and the physical space. And it's been a really great time so far, and I'm really excited to see what 2023 holds for us.
Well, we're really fortunate to have Kaitlin, and I did just make the observation yesterday that I think half of her pod was Christmas decoration. So, the tree behind me came from Kaitlin. Even the maintenance shop has decorations thanks to Kaitlin. So she brought a lot of Christmas cheer. So thanks. One of the things that Kaitlin has been diving right into is hosting and managing our host team and also our volunteer hosts. And that's something we wanted to highlight just to this group because we know a lot of you are invested in the ranch. Some of you on here actually, I think, serve as volunteer hosts already, but it's a great way to come and serve at the ranch, and most of our volunteer hosts do it for a weekend at a time, maybe once a quarter. And Kaitlin is the person to reach out to if that sounds at all appealing to you. And she'll be doing another training for more volunteer hosts in the spring. So look for that as well. Well, I want to just share a couple of stories really quickly, just brief things about what's been happening at the ranch. One of the groups that we were able to host all the way through the pandemic, and I've talked about a little bit before, is First Responders Resiliency. It's an organization that does amazing work training first responders how to deal with PTSD. Their tagline is putting PTSD out of business. And it's fascinating to watch these firefighters and police officers come in like this on day one and then just leave hugging everyone and totally relaxed and transformed a couple days later. We have a picture of them. One of the things that they do is a form of yoga while they're here. They teach them this thing, and it's the loudest, most yelly version of yoga I've ever seen or done. But it's really fun to watch them. And they were just here a few weeks ago, and they're working on building their own center near Kotati. But they also just booked in 4 additional retreats in 2023 with us. And the biggest thing for me is they've been traveling around and they do this kind of training everywhere all the time, but they do it at the ranch a few times a year. And their staff, when they were here last time, just said, this is like coming home. This is our break too. The minute we set foot on the property, there's just this presence that we feel. There's just this relaxation, and we experience that. And we all know that feeling as people who attend and love the ranch, and they get it too. And I love that. The other interesting group that was just here is we had the first ever all-female bishop cohort of Credo. So we've been hosting Credo again, and they decided to do this group of only female bishops. They've never done it before. And one of my favorite things is that they just got relaxed at the ranch, and they got comfortable. And you know, I think a bishop's role is really hard. There's not many spaces where you can actually do that and let your hair down. They had a dance party in our event tent, which we put up during COVID. I was not allowed to document it or take pictures, so I have nothing to share with you. But just the fact that they were that relaxed, and over again, they said, thanks for the hospitality, thanks for this space, and just really, really had that transformative experience that the ranch is so well known for. You. Someone asked, what is Credo? It's a program put on by the Church Pension Group, the National Church, specifically for clergy, aligning things like their sense of calling, financial planning, well-being, and they do a number of these all over the country, but they really love doing them at the ranch and have just come back and started doing them here again. So it was great. It was great fun. Tonight, there's a lot that we talked about sharing with you. Many of you have read a lot of the things that we've put out recently, and we thought the best thing to share with this group, who's kind of our closest in supporters, who really, you all really love, serve, and give to the ranch and show up for the ranch over and over again. So we thought we would spend some of our time sharing pieces of our new strategic plan, which we've mentioned, and getting some feedback from you as well. And so we embarked on this, the board embarked on this a little over a year ago, and really spent 2 retreat times kind of digging into it. And some time in between that, we had a working group that was working through it, and it came up with 4 areas that we really felt like were the pillars. So this is a kind of a board level plan that we're now operationalizing. Tyrone, if you can go to the next slide there. Yeah, thank you. So we have kind of 4 areas that we're looking at, and I'm just going to talk briefly about each of them, and then I have a little bit of feedback I'd like to get from you in this. The first area was mission clarity. You know, our current mission statement has been in place for, I think, 30 years at this point. And so many things have changed here in the county, at the ranch, in the diocese, in our culture. And we felt like it was time to really get clear on our mission again, because that informs everything. Not that we think it'll change drastically, but just that we need to spend some time at the board level, at the staff level. Yes, I'm keeping an eye on the fire, whoever just said that. And at the board level, at the staff level, and with all of our stakeholders as well, about what the ranch could best, what our best gift is in this season. So we're starting that process. I'm going to ask you to help me a little bit with that and help us a little bit with that in just a few minutes. Tyrone, can you go to the individual slide on this on the sustainability for finances? So the second area was sustainability of our finances. Back in 2018 and 2019, we formed a financial sustainability task force. If you have been at the Acorn Society meetings around that time and other meetings, we shared a little bit about that and the path forward and the things we were doing to make sure that the ranch was going to be sustainable financially over the long haul. We made some changes. We started to put that plan in place in 2020. We had a really good January, we had a really good February in 2020, and then in March of 2020, COVID hit and the whole world changed. And we are now coming back around to that, going into 2023 and saying we have to take a look at that because the assumptions that went into that sustainability plan around finances may not be where we are anymore. Certainly aren't the way that people currently are coming to the ranch or feeling comfortable using the ranch. And so we've got to look at some of those things as well. After that, we looked at the sustainability of our people, our staff and our human resources, which is the next slide. You know, the ranch, as we say, and I believe this, that we're a place where lives are changed. We have this reputation of life-changing hospitality. And we wanted to make sure that was true for our staff too. And so we have been working over the last few years to make sure that we have equity in our pay and in the way that we're doing our staffing, that we are attractive, that we are really trying to keep pace with where nonprofit market is in terms of fairly compensating and fairly treating our employees. We want to see high employee retention. We want to see employee satisfaction. And one of the big specific challenges that our staff are having who aren't residential is just housing and housing costs in the county. You know, the folks that work in our kitchen, the folks that clean our rooms, the folks that take care of the grounds, we're not really able to pay them what it takes to live here in most cases. So we are also looking very specifically at how over the long haul we could add more staff housing in order to be sustainable with our human resources over the long haul. So that's sort of a stretch goal for us, but it is something that we're looking at. And obviously, those of you who read the recent letter about the dairy closing, that's an immediate impact for us where we've been able to have this pool of people who had housing right next door who've worked at the ranch over the years, and that is going away. And so it's made that piece even more urgent for us. And then the fourth piece of this is really around our facilities and land. You know, that we have 365 acres, 23 buildings, you know, all those roofs, the guest rooms, the gathering spaces, the pool. There's just constantly stuff to take care of. And so we need to be able to steward our current resources, think about how we're adding key resources. We embarked upon a capital campaign right as COVID hit. Earlier this year, we were looking at how to relaunch that. We have several projects identified, huge increase in cost, huge increase in both labor and supplies. As we started to get some of those updated bids back, updated things back, we said, we have to take a look at all of this again and see what makes sense at this point. And so we paused again our capital campaign, and in this first quarter of 2023, we'll be communicating a little bit more detail to our, especially those of you who have already made a pledge or donation to the capital campaign, what we are doing moving forward, and what we're thinking about taking on. And one of the things we probably will have to do is look at more of a project by project funding for at least the foreseeable future. We have a lot of things that need done that were wrapped up in a bigger campaign that we may or may not be able to take on anytime soon. So that's one of the things that we're looking at. So really, those were the pieces. And Tyrone, if you can go to the next slide, maybe, or oh yeah, actually
someone requested to go backwards. So
go back to the four where they're all on the same page, so we can see all four of them. I think it's one more back.
Someone requested the mission slide, so I just wanted to give them a chance to look at this.
Okay, we're going to come back around to that too. So, so those are really the 4 areas that we're looking at in this plan, and some of the results that we're looking at. First things first, and what we've been talking about even today, as Hale mentioned in our 2-hour board meeting today, is just this idea that we're needing to just get much clearer on our mission, because it informs everything that we do. And so you can go ahead and stop sharing here for a second, Tyrone. I want to take just a couple minutes to follow up on some of the some of the things that you've been seeing, and some questions that we got ahead of time in this. Many of you got the email and the video, or you saw it on social media, about the cost of the ranch and our admin appeal. This is when 20 to 25% of our annual fund comes in the month of December, and so we're communicating a lot. We're trying to make the need known. But I wanted to just say to all of you, thank you to those of you who've given already. It makes such a difference. This year, we are still looking at about a $250,000 deficit, depending on how we do in the next month with the annual fund. So if you've given already, thanks. If you haven't, there's still time. And if you've given and you can give again, please do, or stretch and give more. It would make a huge difference. This year has been a bit of fits and starts at the beginning with COVID. We had some unexpected closures. People are still hesitant. It feels like the fall has been stronger. People have been more comfortable coming, but there's still this little hesitation. So it's been really hard to predict group size and revenue of groups and how it's actually going to shake out. And so we are still looking at a pretty sizable deficit and as we face year end. So I want to shift just a little bit, and then we're going to get
Aaron,
some input from you. Yes.
We have 2 questions. One is, what is Credo?
Questions.
And the other one, what is Credo? I think someone did explain it, but do you want to talk about what Credo is for a minute?
Yeah, I did say a little bit about that. It's sponsored by the Church Pension Plan for clergy. It's a wellness and everything from finance to personal health to personal mission for clergy. And so we're one of the host sites of those. And then there's a question about guest rooms. Yeah, if you count both rooms in the cottages, we have 40 guest rooms. So that's where we get that number. If you count the cottages as 1 room, you get 35. So that's where we are with guest rooms. I do want to move into just an exercise with you all. We'll do a Q&A at the end as well, just for anything that stood out or other things you want to ask about. But I'd like to put you to work a little bit on our Mission Clarity project tonight. And so the first thing I'd like for you to do, and I want you to drop these in the chat, is I want you to think of the first word that comes to your mind when you think of the ranch. Just the first word that comes to your mind, and drop it in the chat. Ooh, some good ones. Peace, community, beauty, quiet, community, transforming, community. Lots of community, lots of sacred, lots of peace. The chapel, beauty. Yeah. Ooh, soul food. I like that. Memories, yes. Yeah, it's fun to see what that evokes in people, what people experience here. It's really important to understand what it is that people come for and what it is that people associate with the ranch. Beauty, beautiful place. Wonderful. Okay, I have a next question for you all. Again, you can drop your responses in the chat, and I'm going to take a few live ones too, but let's do the chat first. What does the ranch do best? What do we do best? Like, what's our best gift to the world in this season, and what do we do best? So drop those in the chat too. Hospitality, the place, yes. Welcome, community meal, welcome. Beautiful grounds and food, welcomes others, welcome. Lots of consistency here. Beauty, place, hospitality, welcome, connection. A thin place, yeah, friendships. Excellent. Food and friends. All right. Beautiful grounds. These are great. Life-changing. Hopeful. Well, I'm wondering if I can ask someone, raise your hand if you want to expand on your answer of what the ranch does best and why you shared that with us. I can't see everyone, but put a hand up if you want to share with the group about that. Oh, Joni Santos, I see you. You're up. You'll have to unmute. There you go.
Unmute, yes. In the video, so you will just have my silhouette there. But yeah, I said belovedness because it, and in that moment also just Sean Swift came to mind, just as a visual. And just that wonderful all-encompassing feeling of being loved as the Father loves us. And it is such a rare opportunity to feel that amongst other people, I think. And, you know, there are certain churches that do it best, but I think the ranch does it better. And I just feel that every time I show up, and it's just passed from person to person. And I think that that's really at essence what it's all about.
Thanks for that. Thanks. Marisha, so good to see you. You go. There you
Thank you. I put down community meal, and my point is that at table, everyone is included. Everyone is together. There's even if you don't eat the meal, you know, the Last Supper, the First Supper, whatever it is, we're together. And it's such a natural thing for even people who aren't part of religious community. It's such a beautiful way of bringing folks together. And the Ranch Kitchen does that magnificently.
Thanks for that. We don't have any of our kitchen folks on tonight, but I'm gonna pass that on to them because they love hearing from you all. Susan, you'll be our third and final on this one.
I came to be a prayer resident at the ranch, and this was many years ago, and offered a little morning prayer service. And there were a couple of people there. And when the service was over and we're walking to the refectory for breakfast, an elder lady who was in the group walked up to me, put her arms through mine, and said, "What nourishes your life?" And I thought, wow, that's ranch for small talk. It's just that kind of fast connection.
That's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. Well, we are going to ask you to do one more thing, and then we'll take some questions and do some Q&A here. But as we're talking about our mission, I'm going to have Tyrone put up a slide of our current mission statement. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to ask you one more time to drop in the chat either the word or short phrase out of it that most sticks out to you or speaks to you. And so the mission of the ranch is to serve God by providing for people of all walks of life, a place where lives are changed, a place of hospitality amidst the beauty of God's creation, where renewal of spirit, mind, and body is nourished, leading to spiritual growth and closer relationships with God and one another. So we're going to leave that up while you drop in the chat the word, phrase, whatever sticks out to you. Great. Renewal, lots of renewal, place of hospitality, all walks of life. Yeah. Lives are changed, relationship, renewal, serve God. Beautiful. Peace and renewal. That's great. Give it a few seconds more here, so more are coming in. Great. Lots of consistency there as well. I saw renewal over and over again. I saw hospitality. I saw the place of hospitality. Lives are changed. Spirit, mind, and body, over and over again. Our goal in this one was just to get you thinking about it and to hear from our closest in what speaks to you in our mission and in your experience of the ranch. So we're going to actually capture all that. We're going to take that into the group that's going to be working on this process. We're going to do this with people who are brand new to the ranch too, or somewhere in between, and try to get a really wide perspective of like what the ranch is really, what it means to people, how it speaks to people, and to do our own discernment as well around where we think it is, and come up with hopefully even a simpler, clearer, crafted mission statement in the next few months. So thanks for participating in that, and for all of your input. That was great and really, really helpful. We're going to capture that out of the chat here. So I think now I want to give us just some time for any sort of questions that you may have about anything I've said, or anything else you want to know about what's going on at the ranch. If you want to just raise a hand, we'll call on people, and we'll keep everybody else muted while that's happening. Okay, Marisha, I see you.
One thing I always felt about the ranch, having lived in Healdsburg, was, is the ranch integrated into the Healdsburg community? I would love it for the wineries to know about the ranch, for the people who run the Healdsburg government, shall we say, that they know about it, that the ranch is a daily speaking word for people in the community, that children go up there for a one night sleepover or a day of walking in the fields, that people have it integrated, have the ranch integrated into their life, who are in the community.
Yeah, us too. We have been, that's something that we've worked on over the years, but are working on even more. One of the small benefits of all of the kind of tests and tragedies that we've been through with fires and pandemic or whatever is that it really has galvanized the neighbors in a way that we have, I would say, really engaged neighborhood groups now, like our COPE group, which is citizens organizing and preparing for emergencies. I just went to an event with them on Friday with all of the leaders of that. We're doing a lot of stuff around fire preparation, which has been a real entree into other people in the city the mayor was at that event, so we're just getting more connection, more networking, more opportunity to talk about the ranch. We've hosted some of those gatherings at the ranch, and really just trying to network and get the word out that way. I think that there's more to do for sure. One of the things that's really opened up the school system and that platform to us is Read Camp. They have started recognizing us at a fall board meeting for that effort, which then gets, we go and, accept their thanks for that thing and meet them, and they see the ranch, and the community sees the ranch, and obviously the children from Healdsburg Elementary that come get a great, it's the best week here. It's so fantastic to see them just enjoying the ranch. So I think those two things have helped a lot. There's plenty more to do for sure. Yeah. Other questions? Just raise a hand. While we're waiting for that, I'll see if was Rachel ever able to jump on here? I'd love to introduce her. I don't think so. She's in.
I do not see her.
Okay, great. Helen, I see you have a question.
It's really more of a comment. I really, this notion of being able to provide affordable housing to our team members is something that's, crossing lots of different industries. And I just want to emphasize to the board members that I see that as a critical priority. I know you have 40,000 capital campaign wish list items, but I think that to create this sense of stability and offer housing as an adjunct to hourly compensation will give us a team that will stay with us for a while. And I think that I would just ask that you really give that a lot of priority.
Yeah.
Helen, that's a great point. And I think Aaron alluded earlier to the whole idea of pay equity. Housing is enormous. It's like a fundamental thing in Sonoma County or even Northern California.
Yeah. The thing I don't want the ranch to turn into is a private country club. And I think that if we really say we are trying to create the beloved community, it's in our employment practices and our programming and a host of things. So I just really encourage you to keep that top of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be, it's definitely something top of mind, and definitely even in talking to the Bookers, I had dinner with them on Friday, and they were sharing how as their staff has found other jobs, they're talking to other farmers about how providing housing is absolutely essential to maintaining workers. And so I think you're absolutely spot on. I think it's only going to become more important that we're able to do that if we want to be able to staff the ranch. Yeah. I see a couple more hands. John Brennan.
Right. Hi, thanks, Aaron. Just two things. One, a comment about how deep the ranch is to us. The Foots knows the story very well. Our daughter won an award trip at school to go to Hawaii for selling the most magazines. It was the same weekend as the parish weekend at the ranch. She gave the trip to Hawaii to somebody else and went to the ranch. So we're very interested in the long-term health of the ranch. Notwithstanding the country club that we're avoiding that, are there other sources of revenues, event-based revenues and other things that we're exploring that can be compatible with the mission, but can help sustain us?
Yeah, that's a great question. We definitely are hosting new groups, and I think that's part of why mission clarity is so important. It's like we are seeing, even the first responders, we're seeing like really important transformation there. It's not necessarily a spiritual program or a traditional program that the ranch would offer, but it's very, very important work. And I think there's a ton of opportunity for that. We are actually just looking at all of that right now, like what is possible, where are other sources of revenue, earned, unearned. And I think we're on the front end of that, but it's really, really important so that we can continue to do what we, what we do and love, but also expand our reach and expand our pool of people who are using the ranch and enjoying it. So.
Want to raise your hand, Susan, or not?
Jan. Hi, Jan.
Hi.
I think you're next.
I remember seeing in the letter about the dairy farm being sold. Do you know what's going to come of it? Who's going to buy it? What other use it's going to put to, and how that would impact the ranch?
So what's happened so far is they sold their milking cows, and so they've shut down the actual milking operation. This was a surprise to me. They still have 500 cows on the property that are young. They're heifers. They're not able to milk them yet, only because they are not really valuable yet. They're planning to sell them by June or July. And so beyond that, they haven't sold the land. They haven't sold the actual ranch. I don't know that isn't in the future, but it doesn't seem to be in the immediate future based on I have a pretty good relationship with them, and they do share a lot, but I do think they're definitely looking at all their options. They have about 35 acres planted to vineyards. They have identified that another 70 acres could be easily planted. They have a wine label. They're just trying to look at how they could be sustainable, but also I don't think that a sale is off the table. But right now they still own it, and it sounds like they're going to for at least the foreseeable short-term future. So yeah. Matt Santos.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, guys. Not to be outdone by Joni, I had to chime in. But one thing I wanted to do is a shout out to Fran Toy, who's out there. If she can get on our Zoom, any and all of us can. So I think that's awesome to see Fran out there. Hey, Fran. My question, Aaron, is actually just more of a request. I was going to actually reach out, and maybe I'm just suggesting you send out a reminder and maybe an update on how much people have given so far this year. And I just have to apologize that we give periodically, so maybe a summary of how much individuals have given, and then you can easily put in a reminder that before the end of the year. And I know you guys have just sent a big mailing out, so I just thinking of that, of reaching out with that request. But I figured I'd throw that out here since you are absolutely looking for extra funds before the year's end. Just a thought.
Matt, so you're saying I can call you later and ask you for more money? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, well, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that one letter, but send it to everybody. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you so much, Matt. Yeah, that's definitely something we can do. I do want to say, I said earlier, the volunteer host program. I want to thank Matt and Joni. I know they're on the call. They are volunteer hosts. They come up and give a weekend. It's so great when you guys do that. The staff loves them. I think you all have a good experience when you do it as well.
Absolutely.
You keep coming back. So
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
You bet.
Hi, Chris.
Raise your hand or not?
Are you Chris Berardo?
Yes, that is my hand. It may not look like my hand, but it is my hand. I want to follow up on Marisha's talk about the local people here and say something on behalf of the chapel community, because I don't hear anything about the chapel. We've been without a regular permanent chaplain now for over a year, and I think close to a year and a half. And our numbers have drastically dropped off. Some people have moved. And because we are not permitted to continue with our Zoom services so that we are in person for people who come to the ranch, we can't even stay in touch with the chapel community in diaspora, of whom there are quite a few now, and some locally who have medical issues and can't get to the ranch. And I think I'm going to be very candid here. There's a sense that the ranch isn't really that that the chapel is not really that much integrated into the life of the ranch anymore. It used to be that certain staff people were part of the community, and that's no longer true. And so we kind of feel sidelined, frankly. And I've heard this from a number of members of the chapel community. I know that that's not the key purpose of the ranch. It's to provide space for people who come from outside of the place. But I think the chapel over the years has been a source of financial as well as spiritual support. And I would like to know what the plan is for providing a chaplain who can not only be there on Sunday mornings, but also help to keep us together and feel like our community matters to the ranch as well as much as it does to the rest of us, because those of us who have been involved, I've been there now for 10 years, and it is my spiritual lifeline. And I hate to see it kind of get lost in the shuffle and not feel that we really are part of the life of the ranch in the way we used to.
Yeah, thank you for that. For those of you who many of you who've been at the ranch on a Sunday have probably seen Chris. She's our chief musician in the chapel. So we thank you for that, Chris, too. But you're right that Brendan has been an interim for a year. We're meeting with the chapel community on this Sunday to kind of talk about what's next, what he's discerning, what we're discerning. It's been difficult to stay connected. I know that Zoom worked for a while, and then there was some hybrid, and now it's all on site, primarily because we have groups back, and the primary purpose of having that is so that groups have a place to attend on Sunday. And the chapel community has been a great source of spiritual support and other volunteer support and financial support and connection. And so I think I don't know what the answer is there yet, but I do know that we have some more to talk about with that community on Sunday, for sure.
Many of our congregations are doing hybrid Zoom and in-person worship, so maybe there's some learnings we can share.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what our church does. They continued on with the Zoom for those for whatever reason can't get to church.
Yep, ours too.
Did I see another hand? I don't know if oh, Susan Watson, are you raising a hand? Yeah, okay.
Hi, I just wanted to tag along to what Marisha expressed. And of course, thank you, Chris, for being our spokesperson for the chapel community. But Marisha, last Sunday, we had the 4 feast, I think it was called, of Our Lady Guadalupe. Oh my goodness, our chapel was packed with our Latino community. I had nothing to do with it. We showed up. I left my glasses. I couldn't read the service bulletin. I don't speak Spanish. But it just filled both of us with such joy to see our Hillsburg community just coming to church. So who knows where that will filter down, but wow, it was amazing.
Thanks for that. Okay. Well, I did get a couple of questions in the directed to me in the chat that I want to answer real quickly, because we only have a few minutes left. There was a question about what we're doing for fire suppression and mitigation. I did want to share that we had applied, thanks to Marjorie Sun and Susan Pierpoint, who are both on the call, for a large CAL FIRE grant to do some work. We did not get that last year. And we're now working with our fire chief, Marshall Turbeville, to build sort of a community coalition. We've had one Zoom meeting that was a community thing. We're doing another one in January. That's part of why I'm interacting with our COPE group as much as I am, to kind of bring broad West Side community support. He really believes that we will have some great benefit to do some larger projects and get some funding at that level, not directly to the ranch, but that would benefit the ranch in terms of larger fire mitigation and prevention projects. And then we continue to do lots of things at sites. We've done a lot of just really working on defensible space. We've had hand crews in, we've had the goats 2 years in a row. If you've been to the ranch in the last year or so, you've probably noticed that we've got a really good we've got really good defensible space now. All of those firefighters who come for the first resiliency retreats are like, you guys are doing a great job on that. There's much more that we can do. You know, you've got some of our buildings need some improvements in order to be a little bit more fire resistant, a little more hardening to be done. There's always tons to do, but those are the things that we're doing right now. I also saw a question. There's several questions in my chat here about our plans for columbarium or legacy type of activity. We are actually working on a conceptual plan for a legacy terrace and possibly columbarium as part of that near the chapel. And we're really on the front end of that. We have a sketch, like just an initial kind of sketch of that, and are starting to talk to talk to people who could actually possibly give us an idea of what that would cost to build. That's a question I get all the time. People want to know, they want to plan, they want to know how that can be done. And I just say that we're on the front end of that. We have no idea how much it would cost, what it would take. At this point, it's conceptual, but it is something that we're working on getting a clearer idea of what's possible there and what it would take to do it. So hopefully we'll have more information on that soon. And then I saw one more that I wanted to answer in here. Ooh, there's a bunch. Let's see. It's kind of lost in there. So let's see. Well, we have just a couple minutes left. Does anybody else have a question? If not, I think I'll close us up here. Well, great. I want to say thanks for showing up tonight. Thanks for always showing up for the ranch. I can't wait for you to come visit very soon. Have a great Christmas. Just appreciate all of you and your support. And we'll hopefully see you. We have one more retreat this weekend, and then we take a little break. So hope to see all of you at the ranch in 2023.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you all for coming. Great to get together.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas all.